Hey guys, I'm Eric with Extreme Terrain. In this video, I'm going to give you my review and install of this Barricade 3.5-inch bull bar with skid plate in black, including a 20-inch dual row LED light bar fitting all 2005 to 2015 Toyota Tacomas. Now this bull bar from Barricade is really ideal for the Tacoma owner out there who wants to add more aggressive styling to the front end of their truck, as well as some off-road lighting. Now with its matte black powder coat, I really like the aggressive looks of this Barricade bull bar, which is why I chose this dark blue Toyota Tacoma out of our fleet in order to shoot this video. I think the matte black appearance of this bull bar looks really good on this dark blue truck and the black wheels that we have on it. So if you're really looking to kind of give that overall blacked out appearance to your Tacoma, this is a great option. Now that 3.5-inch designation that's in the title for this product refers to the diameter of the tubing on the bull bar. Now it's really for styling and appearance. If you're looking for something more rugged that's going to take a lot more abuse, you might want to look at some other options we have here at Extreme Terrain. But this bull bar is really geared towards the person who wants a more aggressive styling for the front of their truck, as well as options for mounting additional lighting. Now, in addition to the 20-inch light bar that comes with this kit, there are pre-drilled holes on the top of this center row right here where you can add even more lighting if that's what you choose to do. Now, taking a look at the included light bar in this kit, it is IP67 waterproof rated, and that comes from the solid aluminum housing sealing up tightly to the clear polycarbonate lens that covers that dual row light. Now, what's nice about these dual row lights is that they have two different types of diffusers surrounding the lights. You have both flood and spot diffusers on there that's going to give you at once a nice wide pattern, but also a focused pattern of really intense light. Now, speaking of intensity, these lights are rated at 6500K on the color scale, which is a really white, intense light. Now, like I mentioned before, if you're looking for front-end protection for your truck, this does provide some protection, I would say, against like rock chips and other flying debris. If you're looking for something more rugged, we do have a wider selection of full off-road bumpers. But with that, not only comes higher cost, but also a lot more weight added to the front end of your truck. And not everybody's looking for that, and not everybody needs that. In fact, this option from Barricade is very affordable, and it comes in under $350. Now, as far as the installation goes, guys, I'm giving this a very basic 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Nothing overly challenging here. As you'll see in a moment, some basic hand tools are all you're going to need, and you're also going to have to do a little bit of wiring, but as is typical of products from Barricade, they give you really high quality wiring harnesses that are very easy to hook up and get assembled and plugged into your light bar. We're going to go over the tools we're going to need in a minute. I'm saying budget maybe about an hour of your time. You should be able to get this installation done, no problem. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the tools we're going to use and go ahead with the installation. All right, so the tools you'll see in this installation include a 10mm, 12mm, 13mm, 14mm, and 16mm sockets, a socket wrench, 16mm crescent, a 14mm ratcheting wrench, and a 16mm ratcheting wrench. All right, guys, as you can see, we have our truck up on a lift. Now, by no means do you really have to lift your truck. You could probably do this with it resting on its own weight, down on the tires. You might want to jack it up just a little bit, depending on how much working space you feel comfortable with underneath here. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to take off a couple of factory nuts tucked in up behind this plastic cover, and we're going to take this mounting bracket and mount it up on the studs that are there, and then reattach those nuts, as well as run a new bolt that comes with a kit. This is going to be the main mounting bracket, and we're going to use these mounting brackets that will be attached to the bull bar, and we're going to attach them to the mounting bracket that's on the frame. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, what we're looking at are these two studs right here that have nuts on them. This is what supports the crash bar that's behind our bumper. We're going to take out these nuts and hang our new mounting bracket on the studs that are there. So to do that, I'm using a 14mm ratcheting wrench. Now you're going to have two identical ones on the other end of the bumper. Go ahead and take those off now. All right guys, now go ahead and grab the bracket. Like I said, they're stamped with the letter D and the letter P. You want the P for passenger side over here. You go ahead and feed it up. Hang it on those studs. Now we're going to reuse Now that I'm under here, guys, to be quite honest, you might want to lift your vehicle for this. I'm kind of being a little bit of a contortionist here to get this hardware on. Then we're going to use a 14mm socket to tighten it up. All right guys, now go ahead and grab the large hex head bolts out of your kit, as well as the two of these large washers. Go ahead and feed a washer on now, and we're gonna fish this from the back side towards the front. And it should come through the mounting bracket we just put on. And then use another washer at the front and one of these hex head nuts for the front. And if I didn't already mention it, guys, you do have lock washers in the kit as well. Make sure you feed one of those on there. Now we're going to tighten it up using a 16mm crescent and a 16mm ratcheting wrench. And we're just going to make it snug for now. We want a little bit of play in here so that when we mount the bull bar up here, we can adjust it if we need to. All right, now like I said, we have it snugged up, guys, but as you can see, I've got a little bit of play in there. It's pretty snug, but you want to be able to adjust it a little bit as needed when we finally mount the bull bar up on here. So go ahead and repeat all these same steps over on the driver's side. All right, guys, now I have our bull bar up here on the table, as well as our dual row LED light bar. We're gonna do some assembly work here on the table, and then we can mount this thing up on the truck. So first things first, we're gonna mount the light bar on. It's gonna go in the center section here. You're gonna wanna go ahead and grab the bright stainless hardware out of your kit. That's what we're gonna use to mount this on. All right, now I have the front of the bull bar kind of facing down, so we're gonna just place our light bar in the middle here. And like I said, grab the stainless hardware out of there. You're gonna have a lock washer and a flat washer for each side. I'm just gonna start them by hand first. Then to tighten it in place, go ahead and use a 13mm socket. Now, as you can see in here, I mounted it so that our cable is on the driver's side of our bull bar. That's where our battery's positioned in our truck. So I want to make sure we're going to have enough slack in our power cable here to reach the battery. All right, guys, now this is the driver's side of the bull bar. So go ahead and grab this oval bracket with the letter D stamped on it for driver's side. The proper orientation is to have this bracket towards the outside of the bull bar. we're just going to put that up here like this and grab these medium-sized bolts out of the kit, lock washer and flat washer. There are threaded holes in the bull bar already that you're just going to put these down to. As you can see, before I tighten these up, there's a fair amount of adjustment there, so I'm just going to leave them like finger tight for now so we can kind of slide that back and forth when we get it mounted up. And then go ahead and repeat this over on the other side. All right guys, now let's talk about wiring and running a power supply for the LED light bar that we have on our bull bar. I've kind of draped out our wiring harness here across the front of the truck, and I want to talk about where we're going to run the wiring into the cab. Now this isn't going to be a permanent installation on this truck, so I'm not actually going to run the wiring in, but I do want to show you how you can very easily do this yourself at home. Now the switch part of the wiring harness is on its own lead, and it has a male connector here that plugs into the female connector like this. You can pull these apart, makes this a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to run into the driver's compartment of the truck. So I'm just going to set this aside for a second. And if you want to run this, you've got about a good 6 to 8 feet of slack here that runs all the way back to our switch box that then connects up to the leads that are going to connect to your battery. So you're going to have quite a bit of slack to play with here. So I'm going to point out where you can pass this through the firewall into the passenger compartment. All right, now this section right here that I'm putting my fingers on here, guys, you see a bunch of wiring and this cable coming out. This cable right here is the hood latch release that runs around to the front, obviously, to open the hood of your truck. Now, it is surrounded by this rubber grommet, and it's very easily manipulated, and I can kind of peel it back with my finger here. And when you peel that back, this runs through the firewall, and where it comes out is directly behind the parking brake pedal. So if you get in underneath the dashboard of your truck and look behind the parking brake pedal, you'll see where these wires are coming through. So if you peel this down, you should be able to have enough, create enough space or enough of a gap there that you can run this wire through as well into the passenger compartment. Really not that difficult and nothing to shy you away from doing this job yourself. All right guys, now go ahead and grab the red and black leads here, and you have a fuse block right here. Go ahead and pull it open, make sure you've got a fuse in there. You should have a 30 amp fuse. We have it already seated in there, so I'm going to close that back up. And I'm going to connect our negative terminal. As you can see right here, the cabling comes up and you have a ground wire attached to the inside of the fender well here on our truck. On our truck here, it's a 10 millimeter, so I'm just going to back this out. I'm just going to add our negative wire to that and simply tighten it back down. Now before I connect our positive terminal, you can grab this switch block here. It has a mounting point, and I'm going to choose this little bolt right here. I'm going to back it out. It's also a 10 millimeter. If you have an auxiliary post like this on your battery, go ahead and connect it. On ours, it's a 12 millimeter socket that you'll need. Now before we go and do anything else, go ahead and grab this connector and the lead for your switch and plug it in. And if you have power, you should see a little red light come on the switch box. Just be aware that after you have this completely installed, this little red LED light doesn't draw a lot of power, but it will constantly draw power. So if you're going to leave your truck parked for an extended period of time, that's going to be a drain on your battery. So you might want to disconnect this if you're going to have your truck parked for a long period of time, or plug in a battery tender or something else like that, just to make sure you keep your battery fresh. Now we're going to go ahead and route the rest of the wiring down and then get the bull bar mounted up on the truck. All right guys, now take the other end that's going to run to your light bar, and one way to run it, there's multiple ways you can run it in here. You have lots of options, but the way I'm going to run it here is just directly behind the flash, or is directly behind the headlight. There's a gap in the support beam for your radiator, and you can run it through there like that. Like I said, you've got probably another 10 feet of slack on this cable here, so you're going to have plenty of options to run this. But the idea is just to run it down, straight down to where our support bracket is for the bull bar. And you can just bring it down just far enough so we can connect it after we bolt on the bull bar. Now for this portion, guys, I'm grabbing a second set of hands here just to help me line it up. And get bolts started. Kit provides flat washers and lock washers along with these bolts. And the brackets that are attached to your bull bar, you want to slide those in so they're on the outside of the brackets attached to your truck. All right guys, now the second set of hands not only helps you get it mated up to the brackets mounted on your truck, but there's quite a bit of adjustability here, and this bull bar will move quite a bit until you get these bolts tightened up. So I had my friend here kind of hold it in place, and I tightened up the other side, and now I'm going to tighten up the bolts on this side while just kind of holding up even just a little bit with my shoulder, because it is drooping a little bit on the passenger side, but proper alignment is what we're looking for. And these are 16 millimeter crescent and a 16 millimeter socket. So 16 millimeters on both sides. All right guys, I'm just gonna reach up here and grab the wiring harness that's coming down from the battery and the wiring for the light bar. As you can see, again, lots of slack here. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug these in. And then go back up top, and we're gonna draw up the slack, and we can use some zip ties to keep everything nice and clean. All right, now I'm just gonna simply gather up excess wiring we have here. Like I said, as you can see, you have lots of excess wiring, so you can totally set this up the way you want. I'm just going to use a zip tie to hold everything together. That's a wrap on our installation. All right guys, that wraps up this review and install of this Barricade 3.5-inch bull bar with skid plate in black, including a 20-inch dual row LED light bar fitting all 2005 to 2015 Toyota Tacomas. And of course, for all things Tacoma, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.